Hi guys, it has been like a little while since I've shared on YouTube my voice messages, and I'm doing it today because I have been a bit heavy, emotional, based on a whole lot of stuff that has been happening. It seems like every year or every few months somebody dies that is close and meaningful to the family, and it's just really hard because it seems so pointless, and yeah. So today I want to speak about progress and planning and success. I have a quote that I speak to persons who are in leadership and persons who are following to find their place. And there's this movie that says there can be only one. I think it was I don't remember who stars that movie. It was this Chinese man, Jackie Chan, Jet Li, one of those guys. And in the leadership race, there can be only one. And so, if we have a country filled with millions of persons, there can only be one leader. And so we should look at when we are encouraging high school graduates or high school finishers, late year persons, in finding the career that they want. There are certain things that I believe should be considered. We have certain innate skills and talents that we do that makes us happy automatically just by doing them. And I think these are key things that we have to consider when we are looking at identifying a career that would give us the money that we need to look after ourselves and our families. What are your key skills? Those that you were born with, that comes so natural, that makes you happy. There are a number of personality assessments online that you can do for free that will tell you this. And your work level is also important, meaning some persons can work for very long periods and some persons doesn't, they don't need to, they don't have to, they don't want to, and that is a consideration. I mean, it might sound frivolous that I don't want to work for any long period, but if it is how you truly feel, and if you ignore it, then you're going to be unhappy, even doubly unhappy, because you're going to have to do it, and you have to do it, and you don't want to. So it's like a double whammy. And there are careers, so it's just that if you don't want to work hard, then you probably won't get paid a lot. So you have to find out if that is how you feel, and then you have to find ways and means to earn extra money, or find jobs that require little effort but will have greater reward. Doctors generally seem to work for short periods and get a good reward and a good return, but you must ensure that you love people. As a matter of fact, every job that you're going into, you must love people, because the production of the service or the product is for the people. And if there isn't a basic love of people, no matter which profession you're going in, it's going to be really hard. So I mean, I don't mean love and head over heels and stuff, but love to the extent that you are civil, to the extent that you don't go out of your way to harm others. So that's my basic view of love in this context. As it relates to the things and the activities that we do in school, we realize that a lot of the things that we do in school might appear to be irrelevant to the work world, but it isn't so, because in the same way that you go and you listen in a classroom to an individual speaking, it is the same way when you get into the work environment. You will have to go into an office meeting, and or how be it whichever size, to listen to a set of persons and to take notes. You may not necessarily need to write it down if you're that type of person, but it is recommended by me and a lot of other persons that you literally write down, because then you won't have to worry about remembering so much. The older you get, the more you have to remember. And if you get into the habit of writing things down, then you can know that you can say, okay, I don't have to force to remember this. The only thing I need to remember is that I recorded it, and then I can go and look to see what I recorded, so that I can have the full detail of what it is that was done, said in that particular situation. So there are rules and guidelines at school. There are also rules and guidelines in the work world, and this is formalized by ISO standardization. A number of the standards have been made mandatory, those particularly towards exporting and personal care, health care, and manufacturing of goods and goods that will be consumed. A lot of those standards have been made mandatory by the government, because you want to. They are working on a stage by stage application of the mandatory standards, so that people will have time to get to know and to get used to. And as I'm saying that, I pause, because I don't see that as being relevant, because if everybody went to school and basically it's the same rules and stuff that we learned in school, so when you take long to make it mandatory, actually giving them time to slack off, so to speak, in between, and so they actually develop bad habits, and then they have to go and formulate better habits. So but there are also preparation that the government has to put in place as it relates to these mandatory. So I'm going to take it that is what they're doing, the preparation that the government has to take to penalize persons who do not follow through, in terms of agencies and regulatory bodies that they need to put in place to monitor and so forth. So that's a level of work that needs to be done by the government to ensure that these new policies or delayed policies are kept. So I'm going all over the place, because I'm trying to create and bring to mind the linkages between the school world, the work world, and personal development, which is what I do. So after all of that, we have the mandatory standards in the companies. I am encouraging. I don't know how much of this happens, but it appears that the HR departments in companies and government agencies are having a warm time finding suitable candidates, and there might be a lot of high staff turnover, and I'm a person that goes after solutions, and so I'm hoping that they are gathering information as to what are the shortfalls and the reasons for this high staff turnover, and to have this information being channeled into the tertiary institutions and the high schools as to what are the deficits, so that they can bring it to the fore and identify solutions and ways and means to better prepare the students for the work world, because the school is supposed to be preparing them at every level for the work world, which is their avenue and their channel of earning income to take care of themselves and their families.